Hello students, welcome to LearnGuru Classes. So today's topic of discussion is rationalization. By the term rationalization, when I pronounce the word rationalization, one hint that comes to your mind that it may be something related to rational number. Okay, suppose a number I am giving you in the form of fraction, where P is the numerator and Q is the denominator. Okay. Now, as Q is the denominator, let us consider that Q is an irrational number. So, I am denoting irrational number by IR. Okay. So, Q is an irrational number. So, the process of converting the denominator of a fraction which is an irrational number into a rational number is known as rationalization. Okay, so it's bit confusing. Let me show you with an example. Okay, so suppose I am given a number like a by root b. Okay, so clearly you can say that a is the numerator and root b is the denominator. Now what type of number is root b? Root b is an irrational number, that is the denominator is an irrational number. Okay, so somehow you need to convert the denominator into a rational number. Now how can you do that? See, I have discussed in the previous classes that suppose a number that is given root b whole square. Okay, so as I place root b within whole square with bracket and a square 2 power is there, so automatically this root gets cancelled or this root gets removed. How? See, the power of root is half and this is 2, already power is 2, so 2 gets cancelled. So ultimately you are left with only b. So I am not assuming any number, I am considering just b is an irrational number, root b. Okay, root b is an irrational number. Now see how easily you can remove the root. Yes, you can remove the root by this method. So we are going to use this concept to turn the irrational number present in the denominator into a rational number. Like we can write this as, can we write root b square as root b into root b? Yes, we can easily write. So root b into root b, we can easily place it within square. And ultimately, since it is placed on the square, you can easily remove the root and it can be called as a rational number. Why can it be called as a rational number? Can you give the justification? Because it is expressed in the form of p by q and q is not equal to 0. That is, you can write this as b by 1, isn't it? So this is an rational number. Okay, so this concept we are going to use in rationalization. Okay, means your target will be to remove the root and to convert this into a rational number. Okay, so let's see how rationalization is being done. A by root b. So root b, clearly you can say that root b is an irrational number. Now I will multiply this with this, root b into root b. And since I am multiplying root b in the denominator, so it is necessary to multiply root b in the numerator as well. Okay, so this will be turned into root b square and a into root b. So this a root b by b is the final expression. So from that you can say that this is a rational number. Initially it was an irrational number. By doing rationalization we have converted the denominator into a rational number. So how from this example you can define rationalization easily? The process of converting the denominator of a fraction which is an irrational number into a rational number is known as rationalization. Okay, so this concept is easily clear to you. Now with rationalization we will study another term, that is rationalizing factor. Okay, so what is rationalizing factor? Rationalizing factor. Okay, so what is rationalizing factor? Suppose this is a number a by root b. So you are converting this into a into root b into root b. Okay, so you are multiplying root b to convert the denominator into a rational number. So the number that you are multiplying to convert the denominator into a rational number is known as the rationalizing factor. Like root b is the rationalizing factor over here. Okay, so this is the concept of rationalizing factor. Next, using with different examples, okay, where irrational number exists in different forms, we are going to see what or determine what will be the rationalizing factor. Okay, so let's see. This is the definition of rationalizing factor, where if the product of two irrational numbers is rational, then each one is called rationalizing factor of the other. Now what does that mean? Okay, so there are three examples that is given to you, and from that we will understand, we will find out the rationalizing factor and we'll try to understand the definition of rationalizing factor. Okay, so till now whatever I have explained to you is that a by root b, suppose a number is given where root b is an irrational number. Okay, so you are to rationalize root b. So what do? You multiply this root b into root b and you multiply root b with the numerator as well. So you are getting a root b by root b whole square. So a into root b by b. So since you are multiplying root b with root b, so one is called the rationalizing factor of the other. So if the product of two irrational numbers is rational, yes, this is a irrational number, this is also an irrational number, you are multiplying both the two irrational numbers and you are getting a rational number. So if the product of two irrational numbers is rational, then each one is called the rationalizing factor of the other. Okay, so this is how we find out the rationalizing factor. Now using this method you cannot solve these examples. You have to devise some other method. Like if I go by the simple this root b concept, multiplying it with root b, so a plus root b over here. Let's use this concept to see whether this concept works here or not. Okay, so a plus root b. So a plus root b, a is a rational number, root b is an irrational number. So let's multiply it with root b. Okay, so what are you getting? A root b plus root b whole square. So a root b plus b. Yes, I will agree that root b has been converted into a rational number here. But what about this? A into root b. So a is a rational number, root b is an irrational number. So product of rational and irrational number, non-zero rational number gives you an irrational number. Again, this is an irrational number, this is a rational number. The sum of rational and irrational number will give you an irrational number. So our purpose is not solved here, isn't it? So for that, this method will not work over here. So you have to devise some other method. Okay, so by now you are quite familiar with one formula, algebraic formula, that is, let me take x p plus q, okay, p plus q into p minus q, that is, we write it as what? P square minus q square. Okay, so we will be using this formula to rationalize the denominator, or to find out the to find out the rationalizing factor. Okay, how? So let's consider this example, a plus root b, where let's consider a is equal to p and root b is equal to q. Okay, so simply we will go by this formula, that is a plus root b into a minus root b. So this is p square you are getting as s square, q square you are getting as root b square. So ultimately you are getting s square minus b. So a square, a is a rational number, s square is also a rational number, and b is undoubtedly a rational number. So what happens here? You are multiplying the existing irrational number, that is a plus root b, with another irrational number, that is a minus root b, to get a rational number. This is an irrational number, this is also an irrational number. Ultimately you are getting a rational number. So the number that you are multiplying with an irrational number to get a rational number is called the rationalizing factor. Okay, so clearly rationalizing factor for this number is a minus root b. Okay, now there is a very easy way of determining the rationalizing factor, that is, all the numbers will remain as it is. Like see, a has remained as it is, root b also has remained as it is, only the plus sign has been changed into minus sign. Okay, so this is the rationalizing factor. So this, if you go by the formula s square minus root b square, using this formula you are getting s square minus b, which is a rational number, which is a rational number. So see, it is very easy to predict the rationalizing factor. Okay, now let's go into the second example, that is a plus b root x. Okay, so a plus root b x I will write over here, this is a minus b root x is the rationalizing factor. Okay, now let's check whether I have written a minus b root x is correct or not. So see, we will go by this b square minus q square. So p is equal to a, q is equal to b root x. Okay, so p square s square minus, or p square minus q square, you can write it as what? P plus q into p minus q. So p is a plus b root x, q is p root x into a minus b root x. So ultimately we will be getting s square minus b root x whole square, that is s square minus b square x, isn't it? So s square is a rational number, p square is also a rational number, x is also a rational number. So in this way you get rid of the roots, square root, by using the concept of rationalizing factor. Okay, so here see, a, whatever I have written, a minus b root x is the rationalizing factor, and I have written it correctly because when I have used this rationalizing factor to multiply it with the existing number, you are getting a rational number. Okay, so rationalizing factor is a minus b root x. So this is s square minus b root x whole square, that is a square minus b square x, is a rational number. Is a rational number. Okay, so let's look into the third example. The third example is root over x plus root over y. Okay, so for that easily we can write rationalizing factor is root over x minus root over y. Now let us check whether it is valid or not. So root of p equal to root over x if we take, q equal to root over y if we take. So p plus q into p minus q, we can write it as root over x plus root over y into root over x minus root over y. So root over x whole square minus root over y square. So you are getting x minus y as the answer. Okay, so here rationalizing factor, obviously it is root over x minus root over y. Everything remains as it is, only plus sign has been changed into minus sign. Now root over x plus root over y into root over x minus root over y gives us root over x whole square minus root over y whole square, that is x minus y, is a rational number. Okay, is a rational number. So from this we can find, we have found out the rationalizing factor, how to find out a rationalizing factor. Now using these common examples, we will be solving some sums of rationalization. Okay, so let's look into the sums. These are some of the basic examples that you are going to solve using rationalization. Okay, so the first is 1 divided by 3 plus root 2. So 1 divided by 3 plus root 2, 1 is the numerator, 3 plus root 2 is the denominator. Now what type of number is the 3 plus root 2? So obviously 3 plus root 2 is an irrational number, isn't it? Sum of rational number and irrational number will give you an irrational number. So here next our duty is to find out the rationalizing factor. So rationalizing factor of 3 plus root 2 will be what? Is 3, plus will be changed to minus and root 2 will remain as it is. So 3 minus root 2 is the rationalizing factor. So this rationalizing factor, you will be multiplying with this denominator and the numerator as well. So 1 divided by 3 plus root 2, I can write it as 3 plus root 2 into 3 minus root 2, 1 into 3 minus root 2. We are multiplying 3 minus root 2 with the denominator as well as the numerator. So you should remember this. Don't for just multiply it with denominator and my work is done. If you are not multiplying it with numerator, then your sum will be wrong. Okay, so this will be 1 into 3 minus 2, that is 3 minus root 2, and this will be x square minus y square. This is x, this is y, this is x, this is y. So x square is 3 square minus root over 2. So root over 2 is whole square. So for solving this example, you should keep this formula in mind. X plus y into x minus y, that is x square minus y square. You should know this formula very well to solve rationalizing sums. Okay, so this will come out as 3 minus root 2 and 9. 3 square is 9 minus root 2 is what? Root 2 whole square. So root 2 whole square, this root and this square gets cancelled. So you are getting as 2. So 3 minus root 2 divided by 7. So what type of number is 7? 7 is a rational number. So see, by using the process of rationalization, you are converting an irrational number in the denominator into a rational number. Okay, clear? So let's move on to the next sum. So this is B. B is 1 by 8 plus 5 root 2. So 1 divide 8 plus 5 root 2. In rationalizing factor will be rationalizing factor of 8 plus 5 root 2 is what? 8 will remain as it is, plus will be changed into minus, minus 5 root 2. Okay, so this is the example, rationalizing factor. So 1 divided by 8 plus 5 root 2 will be what? 8 plus 5 root 2, and you will be multiplying it with this rationalizing factor in both numerator as well as denominator. So don't forget this. So 8 minus 5 root 2. So this will be 1 into 8 minus 5 root 2. So this is 8 minus 5 root 2. This is 8 square minus 5 root 2 whole square. So this will be 8 minus 5 root 2. 8 square, that is 64, minus 5 square is how much? 25. Root 2, this gets cancelled. Root 2 and square gets cancelled. Root gets removed. So this is 2. So you are getting 8 minus 5 root 2 divided by 64 minus 50. So you are getting 8 minus 5 root 2. 64 minus 50 is how much? 14. So 14 is the final answer. You can reduce it later. It's up to you how much you keep. Okay, so later simplifications you will be doing. Okay, you can keep up to this. So let's move on to the next sum. Root over 5 plus root over 2. So this will be 6 divided by, first of all, find out the rationalizing factor. Rationalizing factor is factor of root over 5 plus root over 2 is root over 5 minus root over 2. So everything remains same, only plus is changed into minus sign. Okay, so 6 divided by root over 5 plus root over 2 is, what will you do? You will multiply the denominator as well as numerator with root over 5 minus root over 2. So root over 5 minus root 2. So this becomes root over 5 minus root 2. Okay, so this is 6 into root over 5 minus root over 2 divided by root over 5 whole square minus root over 2 whole square. So this is 6 into root over 5 minus root over 2, root over 5 square. So root gets removed. So you will get 5 and minus root 2 whole square. So this root also gets removed from 2. So 5 minus 2. So 6 into root over 5 minus root over 2 divided by 3. So 3 2 just 6. So 2 into root over 5 minus root over 2 is the final answer. Okay, so today I have solved only the basic problems related to rationalization. Next class we will study, or we will solve more numericals related to this topic. Okay, so I am ending the class here. If you find this video helpful, please subscribe to LearnGuru Classes, like, comment and share it with your friends and relatives. So thank you so much. Bye-bye.